Okay, well, good afternoon, everyone. I am Erin Christensen, and this is the final day of our Alumni Career Week series. And Maggie and I, and I'll have Maggie introduce herself in a little bit, but Maggie and I are going to be talking about how to be involved with career services at UMKC. This will not take a full hour. We want to give that caveat at the beginning. And so if you have questions about just career services at UMKC, or if you've attended some of our previous sessions and you have come up with questions throughout the week that you want to ask, feel free to ask those throughout the session or at the end. As a reminder, please keep yourself muted just for listening purposes. And then if you have questions, both Maggie and I are going to tag team tackling or answering those questions in the chat box. But like I said, I'm Erin Christensen, and I manage employer relations and outreach for the Block Career Center. I used to work in UMKC Career Services, and so while I work in Block, I have a fairly good understanding of all of the academic units at UMKC. If you have something specific to that unit and we don't know the answer, we are happy to find the right person to get you in connection with. And I'll let Maggie introduce herself.
Thank you, Erin. My name is Maggie Rayland, and I'm the Professional Development Manager in the Block Career Center. And so while Erin really handles everything on the employer side of the camp for our office, I am really very student-facing. So I do the majority of our career coaching and programming for students. I also have a background that spans quite a few years in career services, both in business schools and centrally. So if it's a UMKC specific question, Erin would be happy to answer that. But if it's sort of a more general question, I'm certainly happy to answer it as well. So yeah, I think we'll just get started. It's so nice to virtually meet all of you, and we're excited to talk to you about all of the ways that you can engage with current students at UMKC.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about mentorship opportunities. This is something that has been that we've been working on within the Block School for a couple of years now, and Maggie's going to talk about a product that we've recently started implementation for that will make that process easier. Volunteering, how to get involved with your academic departments or your former academic departments. And then also what you can do with your own employer through your employee referral programs and potentially volunteering for that recruiting team, as well as briefly talk about what you can do with the Alumni Association and how to express your interest in volunteering through them.
So Erin touched on it a little bit, but we have sort of embarked on a journey with mentorship over the last couple of years, and we had been doing it pretty bootstrappy in terms of using Excel documents for matching, just doing everything via email. And what we started to realize was that it was getting tough because we had so many departments that wanted to do mentorship programs. We had so many students who were interested in doing mentorship programs. And so this past year, we purchased a product called Wiser. And it is a mentorship platform where we will basically have a company that manages all of that matching and sort of back of house information as we go forward. We're super excited to launch it this fall. So our very first mentor programs through Wiser will launch in October. We are piloting it just for this first semester in the Block School. We have a couple of different scholarship programs and boards that are really interested in trying it. So we're kind of doing a small test run this fall, and then we'll open it more widely to all students and all alumni or people in the community who want to try doing a mentor relationship in January of 2021, which we're really excited about. This is just a screenshot of sort of what the platform looks like. As you can see, it looks very similar to like a Facebook, a LinkedIn. They're very social media conscious, and so it's super user friendly. Basically, you can just email me if you would like to participate at some point. If you're interested in more of the informal mentoring, that just means that you'll go into a general pool. You'll be given a list of students that have basically selected similar goals or experiences, and then you basically are matched more informally, which means that you don't have to stick to any specific schedule. We'd hope that you would, interact with your mentee maybe once a month, twice a month, via Zoom, phone, in person, whatever you're comfortable with. But we also will have some opportunities for more formal mentoring where we will match you specifically, and then we will expect you to have specific amounts of interactions with those students. So you're going to have both opportunities to get involved with this platform. Again, we're launching in October, so we're going to start working on populating the system with both students and alums and community members. And then as of January, we will pretty much open it wide up to really anyone who wants to participate. So it's a really amazing way to give back to UMKC students, basically to help them go through the same journey that you did when you were in undergrad or grad school. And the students so appreciate your expertise and your experience. And we just can't recommend it enough. So if you are interested in participating in mentor programs at UMKC, shoot me an email. It might be a little bit of like, hurry up and wait. We're gonna have to, get you into the system in a couple of months as we're just getting it implemented right now. But we are super excited to launch this platform in the fall, and then really, again, open it wide open in the spring so that, tons and tons of students and mentors can really experience the joys of these mentorship relationships. So yeah, we're excited.
So our biggest, I would say, need is for volunteers for different programs that Career Services does. And we're grateful that we always have a pretty large pool to choose from, but we're always looking for more as time commitments change amongst our current volunteers. So every year, several academic departments, each semester, I should say, organize mock interviews. That's a huge one across the board at UMKC. And the time commitment is usually between 2 and 4 hours. So how it typically works is we will organize the mock interview schedule for you. It's typically to support a program that a student organization is doing, or for a class that the student is in. We organize the schedule for you, compile a list of questions, and then ask that you provide some feedback to students. So it's really best if you've had a little bit of interviewing experience in terms of you interviewing others, because you're used to providing that feedback and really looking at what a strong candidate has while they're interviewing. And then resume reviews. We do large resume review sessions kind of right before career fair season. So that's the beginning to middle of September, and then also the beginning to middle of February. And we ask, it'll be interesting this year because normally we do all of these in person, and we are doing everything virtual this year. So the time commitment might look a little bit different in terms of what we will be able to offer, but normally we ask that individuals sign up for a half day to do them. I think we'll definitely be more flexible in what that time commitment looks like this year. But again, we just ask that someone participates who has just some experience reviewing resumes. If you're a hiring manager or have sat on a recruiting team for your organization, if you work in HR, those experiences are really beneficial while meeting with the student to review their resume. Typically, it's a 10-minute review as students are trying to get their resume polished going into recruiting season.
Yeah, and so we also throughout the year in Block and then in the Central Career Center as well have workshop series. And those workshops can be anything from kind of the initial building of a resume, practicing interview skills, writing a cover letter, even job search strategies, networking, salary negotiation. And our career coaches normally teach those, but we are always happy to have recruiters, hiring managers, alumni come in and either co-teach with us or teach them totally solo. So we have a schedule of usually between 20 to 50, depending on the office, each semester. And we are more than happy to have you come in and teach those classes with us. Again, it will be virtual, at least in the fall. possibly in the spring. It's a little TBD at this point whether or not we will be online and doing everything virtually in the spring, but definitely for the fall. So all of those workshops would be held via Zoom. We're also totally open if you have a specific topic that you would like to teach, you know, a workshop or a mini class on. We're happy to schedule it, market it to the students, host you via Zoom, be there to introduce you and everything, but then kind of hand you the reins and let you teach a workshop or a class on really whatever you'd like, as long as it sort of falls under that career umbrella. We also host panels. We call them Exploring Careers in panels every fall and spring. So for instance, this fall, we are holding Exploring Careers in Accounting, Sales, and Consulting panels. And that's just an hour basically where you sit on a panel with 2 or 3 other professionals in your field. And it's kind of just a big Q&A. So the students come in and, you know, if it's a marketing panel, it's likely full of marketing students. If it's, you know, civil engineering, same sort of thing. And they basically get an hour with you just to ask you questions about your career and your experiences. And you get to answer them. And it's super helpful for the students to have, you know, someone a few years into their career be able to kind of answer those questions and tell them what it's really like. You know, they hear about what it's like to apply for these positions and start for the first few years on a job, but, you know, to be able to kind of get it straight from the source is super helpful for those students. So another thing that we really encourage our alumni and employer partners to do, and something you can email Erin or myself and we can get you hooked up with those panels as well.
So the next opportunity for involvement is looking at ways to get involved with your academic department or your former academic department. Faculty love having outside speakers that can really supplement what they are teaching in the class. And sometimes this means providing a case that you've worked on, judge presentations, guest lecture, depending on your years of experience. I know that some faculty like having some younger alumni come in and just talk about their experience just in the last couple of years and how they've applied what they learned in the classroom to starting their new career. Others like having some more seasoned alumni come in and really talk about projects at a more strategic level. And so these just take a little bit more time and planning. And if that's something you're interested in, we are happy to get you connected with the appropriate people. If you've kind of lost touch with your academic unit. I know just within the block school, and I can only assume this is how it is across the board, that we try to give at least a semester's worth of leeway. So if you're reaching out now, interested in doing this, we wouldn't really have you start looking at being involved in a class until the spring semester, especially with everything being virtual right now. That just poses a few more logistical things to consider as well. But if that is something of interest to you, I think either reaching out to us and we can connect you with them, or your the director within the Alumni Association that works with that academic unit, I'm sure can be a good resource for making those connections as well. So this is this is a little bit of a different way of getting involved at UMKC, but a little bit more indirectly. A lot of organizations have programs called an employee referral program. So if you're interested in wanting to give back to UMKC by meeting students and then referring them internally, this is a great way to do that. So if you are helping out with resume reviews or mock interviews, or you've met students through classes and you encourage them to apply with your organization, a lot of organizations have what is, like I said, what is called an employee referral program. And it not only helps that application kind of get elevated or pushed a little bit more to the top if they've met those qualifications, but there's usually an incentive for the employee as well. And it's typically a monetary incentive. Maggie and I were just talking about this the other day about how it's really different across companies. So some, it's a flat rate, some they stagger it. So the higher a position is categorized within your organization, the more money you could potentially receive if if that individual gets hired. So that's a great way, and not something that I think alumni necessarily think of, but it's a great way to give back to the school and to the students in a little bit more of an indirect way. You're helping the students, but then also supporting your organization by identifying good talent for them. And then this kind of goes along with it, is being involved with your organization's recruiting team. So a lot of times, and again, it depends on the size of your organization that you work for, but there are several organizations have specifically a campus recruiting team, and they look for alumni when they go to career fairs or go to interview on campus. They look for alumni from that school to help support that process. So for example, they'll have a recruiter and maybe a hiring manager and then some alumni to come as a team to attend the career fairs, as well as take students out to lunch during their during like their interview process or dinner, and then, you know, help greet students during their interview process as well. So it's really serving as an ambassador for your organization on that campus. And it's a great way, again, to meet students and to support the hiring process with your organization, as well as getting a little bit more involved and reconnected with the university. And so another thing I wanted to mention, and Katie will add the link in our chat box, is just making sure that all of your information is updated with the UMKC Alumni Association. Under careers resources, you can update your professional profile. And so this is just making sure that we have your most updated contact information, where you're working, but then also you can indicate what kind of volunteer opportunities you are most interested in participating in. So if you're not sure, they can help kind of funnel that through. If you're not sure what is available, they can help funnel those opportunities to you, or let different offices know on campus if there's that interest as well. So like I said, we were not going to take up the entire time. It's a pretty, we have a lot of, I think, opportunities to volunteer, but we don't really have to talk too in depth about them. But we would love to have you on campus or have you virtually help us throughout the year. But I would love to hear if you all have any questions or ideas, if you've done different things on campus that I didn't mention. Maggie, did you have anything else you wanted to add as well?
Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate that I know Erin and I both work in the block school, but really all of these opportunities are available across all departments and for all students. So if you email Erin or myself, we can connect you to whichever academic department you're interested in volunteering with. We can connect you with our colleagues over in the Central Career Services office. And so even though we are technically block employees and work primarily with block students, these are opportunities that you can, get involved with all students.
Yeah.
And I'll put up our email addresses again so that if you all have questions, you can shoot us emails.